Michael Danby, thank you so much for your time. My first question to you is this.
Thanks for the opportunity, Andrew.
Mate, it's my pleasure, let me tell you. What Palestinian state is Labor actually planning to recognise? The West Bank half, is it that bit it's going to recognise that's ruled by a president who hasn't held an election for 15 years? Or is it the Gaza half that is ruled by Hamas, which has a terrorist wing that is actually banned in Australia?
Well, whoever it is, it's going to be done unconditionally. So we asked in an amendment that was withdrawn without my agreement, although I was the seconder, that no Australian taxpayers' money be used to fund terrorist salaries of ex-murderers, that there be no misogynist or homophobic legislation in the Palestinian Authority. That was withdrawn, as I said, without my agreement. Now we've got this unconditional change to Australian foreign policy recognising Palestine as a priority. I mean, Andrew, there are bombers flying over Taipei every night from China. There's a military coup in Burma where 500 people are killed. There's COVID rampaging all over Papua New Guinea. No, that's not a priority. This is a priority. And then when I use the standing orders as a credentialed delegate, and I've got the receipts to prove this, to ask formally and informally for the right to speak against the report, against Penny Wong's report, to make some of these modest points about the craziness of giving this priority and unconditionality, I'm suppressed and censored. This part of the conference was a sham, an absolute sham. And I'm Penny Wong, I say this to you over TV because I couldn't speak to you at the conference. I would like an apology. I was discriminated against. You and your socialist left mates go on and on and on about how you're against discrimination. I was discriminated against. I was denied my legitimate right to speak under the standing orders of your conference against this thing. And a vast number of people in the Australian community are offended by the fact that no one was able to put that point of view to the Labor National Conference.
Now, Michael Danby, I wouldn't be surprised if one of the reasons they don't want a resolution, they didn't want a resolution at all, let's not recognise a state if they say, you said ex-murderer, but an ex-murderer is still a murderer. A murderer, a state run by a murderer. Well, in fact, it's odd you should say that because the latest news is that Marwan Barghouti is going to run for president finally they're going to have an election after, 15 years, whatever it is. They're going to have an election later this year. He says he's going to run for president, apparently. It's still to be confirmed, despite being in an Israeli jail serving 5 life sentences for killing Israelis in terrorist attacks. And the polls show that Barghouti would win and win easily. So is Labor seriously suggesting that it will, if he does, still recognise a Palestinian state as a priority that is led by a terrorist and a murderer?
There are lots of Palestinians, as you know, Andrew, who are engineers or doctors or academics. Surely they can find someone who hasn't got blood on their hands to run as president. We're trapped in this position. Penny blames Richard, and Richard blames Penny for putting this resolution from the 2018
Richard Miles, you mean?
Conference, yes, into the platform, which Labor ministers in a future government are pledged to implement. That's what makes it different from simply a resolution. So they both blame each other. However it happened, it's in the platform and it's now unconditional because they withdrew our resolution. Again, the seconder in this sham conference had no say over that. And then when I try to speak against the whole thing and just even in a losing case, at least put the point of view, I thought that was democracy and we're a democratic party. There are many other good things that happened at this conference, particularly on China. You'd be very pleased with some of the policy on China.
No, I was.
Had a big hand in. But this was just unfair, discriminatory.
No.
And, I'm asking for an apology from Penny Wong, who is responsible for the foreign policy of Australia if a Labor government is elected.
Here is Labor declaring that as a matter of priority, it is going to recognise a Palestinian state that by the end of the year could be run by a terrorist murderer hero. I mean, well done. I'm glad it's got its priorities in a row. Honestly, Michael Danby, thank you so much for your time.
Well, let's give them credit for being a bit tougher on China, though, Andrew. And Kimberley Kitching in particular for
I-
moving the thing on the Uyghurs.
No. Kimberley is really solid on this, so thank God for that. But that doesn't excuse, on the other hand, recognising terrorists. Thank you very much, Michael.